Scotland, Netherlands, no, they were playing Black Forest. I think a Reaper was one of the players. They would have to be having like 2-hour Black Forest. Thinking it was also the last game. Oh well, wait, wasn't? That is strange. I could have sworn I have seen actually 1-1 score for them, but I guess maybe not. So in the end, let's therefore jump into this if it's still on. Okay, so let's therefore turn off the score here. And we're gonna be having therefore Nomad. So let's gonna look around the map first, then I'm gonna be switching the scoreboard. So obviously there's nothing going on in Nomad after we do the introduction for quite a long time. So let's therefore do also one game from here. Paradox Stealth US. Interesting nickname in there for him that he has chosen. Deciding to be sending some messages. So Scotland A versus Netherlands C, or Netherlands C versus Scotland A. That's gonna be, I think, in the order for the bracket. Might be probably the last match and last game here to decide who's gonna be advanced into the next round. Just didn't say the well, congratulations in the previous games. So gonna be having to do that after, I guess. But let's go for look here at Paradox playing with Japanese. He's gonna be in the team having Reaper playing with Koreans. Okay, so they're gonna be fairly close to each other here. Doesn't seem to be having stone near to his position yet. So far seen only the gold and some berries and hunt. Whereas the other players, that's going to be Teal to the top, Unrivalled, Super Hottie. He's going to be playing with Vietnamese. Also will be liking to have some stone, and he does have that. And last player on the team is going to be GoodGuy, which is about there. Yeah, it's a bit harder to see the gray on the minimap usually. And he's going to be playing with the Malians. Good Civilisations, to be honest. Good Civilisations currently for Scottish. Whereas for the other team, Netherlands C. That's gonna be, for example, Rodney McKay. That's a name I recognize for some tournament. I've definitely streamed him somewhere. And he's gonna be playing with the Khmer. That seems to be kind of in between the opponents. And then we do have our base 96 with Dravidians. Next one will be purple to the top, open with Italians. And the last player is gonna be Havoc, AoE. And he seems to be also kind of like beyond two of the opponents. They seem to be somewhat like in between each other. He's gonna be playing with Mayans, by the way. Excellent stone, good gold. Ready for the fast castle into plums. Definitely is. So we can right now enjoy the look of the island. So that's green, blue. Seems like that currently in the end Netherlands is gonna be far away enough from this couple. I was thinking they were a bit more on the left, but they aren't. Could have been waiting a bit longer until it's gonna be next to the TC, but okay. No, and that's gonna be there for red here, blue. Yeah, maybe this is gonna be interesting couple between Paradox and Rodney McKay. It's very interesting, fairly close to each other. But the rest of the players really are quite a bit nicely spaced out. Nobody seems to be close, so this is probably the only couple that's going to be somewhat relevant. And the winner of this match is gonna be facing Argentina A. Well, yeah, seems like it's gonna be also one of those matches that probably is going to be not entirely expecting an upset. Let's maybe put it that way. Okay, let me right now change the scoreboard. This should therefore be Netherlands C, right? That's the first one. It's actually the first match listed in the bracket, Netherlands C versus Scotland A. Alright, so let's dive forward where we are. At about 15 villages still, so you're gonna be having still plenty time before we even get anywhere serious here on the Nomad. They probably are gonna be already a bit deeper. Seems like there was some kind of early shenanigan with Wills, but seems that at least Open is gonna be able to get out of that alive. Seems like it also the villager for Unrivalled Super Hottie is gonna be the same, suffering like 2 hits, but yeah, well, she's gonna be able to survive. Just gonna go in into lame. The stone from Open. He's playing with the Italian, so theoretically he wants to be getting some stone into castles and some crossbowmen. But it's not like necessary. Can be also go in for cavalry quite a bit easily. But oh well, okay, so we're gonna be lame in here by so far at least a bit of an attempt. Looks to me that Paradox is gonna be able to stop it. But in the end, is there gonna be some Dushin even? Japanese, Khmer. I mean, like as I said, we have seen basically Dushin with any kind of civilization, so doesn't matter that you play in this, but thinking that actually getting the stone here this close and for the opponent as well, maybe gonna be quite a bit inviting for a bit of a tower rush in between those two. As in the end, Japanese water, Khmer playing on the water as well. No, that's gonna be curious, because they should be effectively both water civilizations for here, for the fight. So I do wonder if they're gonna be wanting to direct and divert their attention into even doing something else. Argentina A will be interesting. They don't have Juan or Patin. They have Gary, FedEx, Nikov, and Munoz. No, yeah, that's also a bit interesting. Actually, some of the teams, Brazil as well, right, are having bit of like a different combination of players. Not necessarily like the A players in the A team. They mostly playing as basically friends together. And I can understand it quite a bit, because that means they're gonna be better used to each other, and they're gonna be therefore having theoretically better team play. You'll be thinking that obviously top level players should be able to coordinate with each other anyway, whoever it's going to be effectively, going to be. But it's not like all that true. You would have to be doing a lot of practice, playing plenty teams, well, kind of like plenty games, and thinking of the strategies. Whereas if you're gonna be playing with guys with which and with whom you are playing a lot more commonly, might be actually making somewhat of a better sense. It's gonna be also very interesting what's going to happen, for example, with the players being on the NAC, right? I really do wonder what's gonna happen with that. Do you have it already somewhat planned? I have seen some discussions about it already. But I would be really very much against holding the tournament off just because they are making money elsewhere. I would be very much against that. So, but it's obviously just my opinion that I've just seen way too many tournaments, especially yours, where people are just gonna go into them as an ATM. Just gonna like, if there's something else that gives more money, then they're gonna be suddenly ignoring that and invoking like weeks and weeks of delays. So yeah, I will be just gonna saying them, oh, if you think you're gonna be making more money elsewhere, then just gonna like resign from the tournament. Nobody needs you here. This tournament is not hosted so that I can get some viewers. You don't get any viewers from that. You are hosting it for the players and for the community. So I don't see that to be too much of a reason to be actually too nice to these people, because they just obviously not caring enough to play properly something they sign up for. So why should they be actually even having a chance on the prize pool from your tournament in the end, if that's the only thing they are caring about and they can't even put in some basic level of attention to it. So I'm really hoping that team organizers or the kind of tournament organizers are gonna be way more strict about this thing, because I really don't think there's any kind of reason to be giving too much of an opportunity to those people. Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking they shouldn't be getting any kind of extra time. Simply, if you can't play, then you can't play. Because, for example, how fair would it be if you're going to be right now in the qualification having teams that can't be playing in this week? I'm already seeing some discussions on the Discord about that and being disqualified. And then you're gonna be getting extra weeks for group stage just because you are, again, just gonna purposefully deciding to be playing in a different tournament. And you know that you're gonna be playing in the tournament and maybe unwilling to use other players. Just like, no. It's like, simply no. I don't think this is actually anything that should be even a discussion, to be honest. Same as, for example, the complaints about like how the matches are gonna be complicated to stream or whatnot because of the long drafts and whatnot. Again, this is not a tournament for streamers to be making money off. Why should they be taken any kind of consideration? Should there be any consideration for them? Any consideration should be for the players to be having a good games and good time with the games. And if that's meaning they're gonna be having longer draft and longer time between the games, then absolutely, sure. It's community tournament for the community, for the players. That's how I understand that. And I'm hoping that's also how plenty people and the ones that are supporting it with also prize pools are understanding it. So just like zero consideration for the streamers, really. They the ones in the end, they are gonna be making tens of thousands of dollars of this tournament in any kind of way. If they're gonna be having nice streams or kind of like easy streams or not, they the ones reckoning the money. And have they put anything into the prize pool? I haven't noticed anything. And even if they did, again, that's not what the tournament is about. They already getting plenty donations from Microsoft directly into their pocket. So why should they be appropriating even this, what is going on from the community to the community? Yeah, they definitely do quite commonly confuse like doing something for the community with personal profit. Unfortunately, people are falling for that all the time, for those very often straight lies. Well, that's how it is. That's classic in the politics as well. People just kinda don't care too much, even though they should. But I'm kinda hoping that this is not gonna be escalating into anything nasty here in this tournament, because it definitely doesn't deserve it as quite a great initiative, again, by the community, for the community. So hopefully the money is not gonna be ruining it in any kind of way. But what's gonna be definitely ruined is going to be currently GoodGuy's economy here on the water. As you can see, his fishing is not gonna be entirely too untouched anymore, and he should be as the Malian, yep, fighting for it as well, but he doesn't seem to be having the numbers yet. Currently GoodGuy is gonna be though at 11, R-base at 14, but they seem to be therefore split into different groups. There's gonna be a bit of grey here to the top against McKay. On the other side there of... because they're gonna be having effectively two fights at once. GoodGuy and R-base. At completely different places, but this is actually quite a solid army for R-base. It's gonna be quite a bit impossible therefore for GoodGuy to do anything against. So you're gonna be heading into Castle for Reaper. That's gonna be for the Scottish guys, trying to block Rodney McKay, who is apparently aiming for standard horses. No, and we also do have even, you know, they actually castle from Unrivalled Super Hottie here from the top. You can see I was just kind of looking at the berries a bit earlier. Hopefully you noticed that as well, as he was getting quite a bit closer to the next Scottish, and looks like right now the Netherlandies, or no, Netherlandies let's say, are going to be having quite a bit of an issue, and that one especially is going to be Rodney McKay, who is getting quite nastily sandwiched, and I don't think that he's gonna be liking the Rodney sandwich. It's not gonna be too fun. That's just a layman from earlier, otherwise not much of a development elsewhere on the land it looks like, with some kind of third layman by GoodGuy against the Havoc, trying to at least block the stone as much as he can. But there's obviously even the second one, so can't be really doing too much about that. He obviously doesn't see it, so he's just gonna playing on the randomness that this is gonna be the only one. So I can understand that. It's a good thought. And if he was, for example, lucky, and if he were lucky that the second stone wasn't there, it would have been somewhat of a decent play. Okay, Ratanos with only fletching currently for Super Hottie. Then we do have the Knights without any kind of upgrades, even without Bloodlines, for example, for the Khmer. He does have what hidden inside? 3 Knights, actually. It's not a bad army. As you can see to the top, that's still going to be also Paradox. Somewhat trying to fight the water, but it looks like that our base is gonna destroy him, like literally. Doesn't seem like there's gonna be some kind of a high chance on success here, at least for the time being. And since there's going to be, well, actually good army for him still, but open already in the castle age, it seems like that his adventure on the water is going to be already over at 23 minutes of game time almost. And he's gonna be, unfortunately, the last one, although still staying in the feudal age. And you can see right now the food is almost there, so he's gonna be trying to get there into a castle, but with what he's facing, not entirely expecting there's gonna be anything to be done for him anymore and by him. This seems to be actually well in control of whom? No, it's kind of like a combination, because you see red right now here, green, that's opposing teams. Also right now grey, GoodGuy. Maybe actually slightly better looking for the Scottish. as far as that water goes, but it's gonna be, I guess, maybe lasting until our base is gonna be also heading with everything back to the south. That's maybe where already GoodGuy is not gonna be having enough with 9 units currently, our base at 16. Then we do have purple open at 7 boats. Then I don't know, Reaper is not having too many boats, he's actually having on the land. The war wagons at 7 and 10 for Unrivalled Super Hottie. So looks like the water is gonna be slowly but surely going into the Hollandese hands. But that of course means that since they are focusing so much on the water, that maybe here on the land there could be some kind of issue for them, as Havik is gonna be the only one currently with somewhat of a respectable army for Holland. Guess he's gonna be ready with about 10 plums, having Botkin arrow. No Botkin arrow on the other hand for the Hottie. He's gonna be already in the castle but doesn't have that. He's rather actually moving in with another castle. I feel like just Rodney can't be getting any kind of engage, any kind of break here. Already had to be almost abandoning his home base here. And it's gonna be apparently getting even worse very soon. Can't even run from this position, so the castle is very likely to be finished. And at the same time, it's also gonna get raided from the other side. Rodney McKay at 41 villages, which is not the least in the game though. Paradox at 36, Reaper at 40, 37 for example for Super Hottie. Okay, this is gonna be costing a few villages, but in the end, even the army for Havik. $66 and 62 for Havik and Open. No, they have massively better economies currently, Holland Sea. Like, seriously. So if they're gonna be able to survive these kind of little encounters with Rodney, which they possibly should, because you can see right now Grey is basically able to do whatever he wants. He's having 2 TCs and chilling. Not really having any kind of complicated time of the game. As on the other side, Purple as well. Open is having 3 TCs, switching into stable apparently. Getting ready for some early knights and cavaliers possibly. No, and Yellow Havik is also not having too much of a tough time. Also 3 TCs. Seems like actually they are in fairly good spot. For the opponents, it's gonna be said the same about them. As currently Reaper seems to be at only 1 TC. 1 second TC right now getting built for Paradox. No, and Teal, that's gonna be also only 1 TC so far. Yeah, they're gonna be really getting broke on the economy very quickly. And it seems like they are unfortunately not entirely doing enough of a quick damage to the enemy. As it seems like it, especially right now, Havik is able to carry fairly well with his plums. You can see on the units Reaper at 1422 for Super Hottie, which is somewhat high, but our base at 18, which is gonna be mostly water, as he's right now already cleaning it up. As he mentioned earlier, that as soon as he turns back, he's gonna be most probably right now just gonna mop in with everybody, and he's definitely doing so. Kinda liking the fish trap and still going for the snappers here to the back. That's something funny and interesting somewhere, not too much. Just gonna be probably at this point waiting for some Imperial Ages, for some trebuchets I guess. And yeah, much more importantly, even gonna be heading into some Eagles. You can see Havik is gonna be ready with the upgrade almost. No, I mean like he needs to be getting rid of the war wagons somehow. Because they of course do have a bit more of a pierce damage resistance than his plumed archers would be like in. 2 and 1 on them, of course 2 and 2 with the upgrades into defense for free for the Korean. Thumbring getting research for our base. Is he already getting some archers up? Okay, there. Yeah, he's gonna be having at least... skirmishes. So actually not archers. Interesting. Skirmishes though? I mean, like, what is he trying to counter? Well, I guess right now he's trying to counter actually the war wagons. So that's what he's trying to do here. Alright, you can see right now they're at TC unfortunately for Rodney McKay. Yeah, that's not gonna be that easy yet. With a few knights by GoodGuy, he is able to really block him pretty well. With Rodney McKay down to only 36 villages. So that castle to the top TC definitely didn't do him any favors and any good, as he's at least though having a new one all the way behind here, so he's not gonna be instantly and completely dead. There is still some kind of good chance on his survival. Okay, it's 30C also for Paradox. He's gonna be trying to invest into the economy a bit more thoroughly. With Rodney getting a second TC, so still not about to, of course, give up as this game, oh, definitely seems to be still quite a bit open. Looks to me that the Hollandies and Netherlands, therefore, should be in a better position. Even on the score, they are leading by about 500 points. But is it some kind of like convincing position? I wouldn't go that far yet, as it seems like you're gonna be having some castle fight. No, seems like it's not gonna be too much of a fight anymore, as Reaper had to be given up on the position fairly quickly. Yeah, at this point there's no chance he's gonna be, of course, able to get it. Way too many villies for Habik right nearby, so the castle is about to get deleted and placed maybe a bit elsewhere, and where the elsewhere will be. Theoretically, maybe like here, doesn't seem like a terrible position. And no, that's a bit more like it than only the skirmishes. Elephant archers coming up from the Dravidian. And I'm really curious who's gonna be getting the first Imperial Age in the game. As by the way, Grey, good guy with his knights, is gonna be getting second cavalry upgrade, and even, for example, wheelbarrow to further support his economy, which currently is gonna be the best for his team. At 76 villages, but unfortunately still way beyond somebody like Havik at 102, and even, for example, Open is gonna be at 82 currently. No, and for example, the Genoese crossbowmen, why not, gonna be somewhat of a decent help against the cavalrymen. They still need to be, though, getting something serious against the Warbagons, and it's gonna be right now the combination with the Eagles, which are currently without attacking upgrades. Is the defense is already in, with second archer armor coming forward for Super Hottie, that means the Vietnamese. For his Ratans. Probably won't be able to do too much here. In too much of a serious way as to the right. I would maybe expecting that probably Grey could be actually getting fairly quickly into the Imperial Age, or kinda quicker than everybody else. Let's have a look if it's gonna be true. But so far he seems to be committed a bit more into military. With the Malians, obviously the knights making sense, because he's gonna be able to go into Farimba later, as you have, for example, seen in the first match of today's qualifications for the Nations Cup 2023, hosted by Welcometorapture and, for example, also Paradox here, 303, then also Akkal, enmipho, and welcometorapture as the main admins, and plenty others also helping out. That we're gonna be also talking about and reminding. Somewhere later we're gonna be having some time to look into the Discord, for example, just to be naming everybody who is also taking care of the then bronze leagues and the silver leagues that are going to be coming up. And look at the Ratans. Actually deeper they are getting into the enemy territory. Looking at the armies, no, Reaper though is only at 15 Warbagons. Then we do have Unrivalled Super Hottie at 32 Ratans. For the opponents, 35 Eagles slash. On top of it, what was it? The Plums for Havik. It's actually fairly low though. With 24 units for our base. What is he actually having? He's the one with the Elephant Archers and also Skirmishers. Okay, so that's basically gonna be right now the base army for him. With then GoodGuy at about 10 a night, which is not like too extremely high. No, and Paradox is currently not entirely ready with any kind of military so far yet. But it's the same also for Rodney McKay, who effectively has been somewhat removed from the game. But currently he's back to 60 villages, which is gonna be much better than, for example, Reaper at 46, and even better than Super Hottie at 54. So they also need to be investing a bit more into the economies. You can see now some new TC here for Teal. That's gonna be so far 2 for him. And apparently some close visit from Open, who wants to be getting, yeah, very good resources here, both the stone and gold, in fairly good spots. Still the attempts from the earlier layman actually, but he's gonna be able to get this fairly easily. Just gonna be taking like few unit hits by anything like a knight or whatever along those lines, just to be fixing the problem in a moment. Same as here to the top, you can see that Teal layman from the early stages still kinda like rearing its head for a bit. Gonna be having to break through that. Nothing here, seems like the attack has been effectively stopped, and we are gonna be going into a bit of a counter-offensive here from Havik. I mean, of course, good unit for that in the Eagles, so we're having only Forging. But otherwise, Handcart is coming for him at 40 minutes of game time, and the first Imperial Age has in the end been reached by Paradox. It's maybe slightly curious, as he's going actually back onto water. What? Why would you go back into water now? I mean, like, there's barely any kind of economy on it. And it's gonna be also heavily inefficient, so therefore you might want to be actually letting the opponent keep making the mistake. Can see our base coming up. I'm really kind of slightly confused by that. Why is actually gonna be so much focusing on it, but whatever. If he's gonna be thinking that it actually is gonna be somewhat helpful for his victory, then sure, let's let him do that with further Imperial Age also for GoodGuy. That's gonna be second for the Scottish, and the first one for Netherlands C is gonna be Havik AoE with no the Mayans. That's not entirely too surprising. It's gonna be the case with Open following behind fairly closely. Just managed to get a few kills here with that one knight. About 2, but yeah, well, even maybe the 2 are gonna be noticeable somewhere down the line, as you do have some apparently further aid into the top, with not too many defensive units available for Netherlands C, as it also looks like there was some kind of upgrade that I already forgot about, but I noticed something curious. Not sure what it was. So we're gonna be having to therefore see the effect of it somewhere on the battlefield. But otherwise the echoes, no 136, 120 for Havik and Open. Yeah, having 111 and 113 for Paradox and GoodGuy. So they're at least somewhat close. Then we do have 73 for Super Hottie and R-Base, and then 100 for Rodney McKay, managed to actually get back pretty well, and then only 44 for Reaper. So economically, still at this point, Netherlands is somewhat actually seriously better, but it's getting somewhat equal, so I'm thinking that maybe the timer is slightly running out for their kind of like utilization of the economical advantage. Okay, so skirmishes up. As Open is gonna be also trying to send at least a few horsemen in. You can see he's managing to find himself somewhat of a decent choke point. Would be worthwhile to destroy the lumber camp. No, but the skirmishes seemed like they already did actually good number right now on TL, so he's gonna be having to amass a new army somewhere. And do we actually have some kind of real activity? Because it seems to me, looking at the minimap, or the minimap, that maybe we don't even. This is like one of the lone action points. Pretty much. You can see right now Yellow is waiting in his base. Reaper is trying to maybe siege it without siege weapons so far. Getting further war wagon, obviously still in the castle age, the Korean. No, and obviously with the economy that he has, that's the one with the 55 villages now. Well, it's actually increased really quickly last minute. Then he's still gonna be too far away, and no, maybe just the train is gonna be a bit running away from him. If he's not gonna be right now making a plan to advance into him quickly enough. As you can see, this is going to be even some halberdiers attempted to be added for Havik. So far it's only pikemen, but yeah, looks like he's gonna be needing them for the time being. As halberdiers are clicked in, and something curious, infantry upgrade for Paradox. Of course, he is in the end the Japanese, so that's gonna be getting like champions, for example, is gonna be an interesting idea against all the eagles and somewhat useful. Or maybe even something like samurai could be interesting, but probably just the champions are going to be a bit more useful. It's gonna be still nothing, gonna be probably confused indefinitely by the early layman attempts. Okay, so nothing really much going on, like really, there's practically nothing going on currently. Just some kind of careful sieges coming up as we are at 40 minutes and 40 seconds. Really kind of thinking that all the matches so far have been quite a bit long games. Quite a bit long indeed, so I'm gonna be curious if it's gonna be a bit of a theme, or if it's just like some kind of luck or not. But even the show matches were actually including plenty long games, so I guess it's gonna be a bit of a nature of 4v4 games, that they don't tend to be decided too quickly. Besides something like maybe Arabia, those were so far a bit shorter matches in the show matches that we have seen. But in the tournament itself, well, it wasn't really that much of a case. But okay, so that's gonna be it now. Castle down, Imperial Age for green, still unfortunately completely unreachable. So that's also gonna be somewhat of a problem more and more, because he's gonna be missing the upgrades like the elite wagons, obviously even the bracer for the further range and attack. But especially I think it's the elite for the further statistics, and something like even the extra armor onto the piers in there. That's something that he's gonna be missing too. But okay, plenty of cavalry right now. Prepare for Rodney McKay. You can see as he's ready to join into the fight with apparently cavaliers. Yep, cavalier upgrade is getting ready. With currently the units 60 for Havoc. He's gonna be by far the highest. But well, Unrivalled Super Hottie is having still about like 50 Ratans. That's not a bad number. Then you do have GoodGuy with 45 cavalrymen. And on the other side, it's gonna be Rodney with 20. Otherwise, just like 20s, 30s. Seems like it's actually the bottom team. That means the Scottish are going to be having a bit better army. But only a bit, so it doesn't seem like that it needs to be necessarily somewhat of a clear victory for them or anything. And I'm kinda liking how he was actually dropping the castle even before the old one was killed. That's how confident he was, but nonetheless, right now he's gonna be still not able to finish anyway. 2 villages against this. Nope, that is not going to happen. But we're also gonna be looking a bit more into the middle, because there seems to be some also castle push going on by a GoodGuy, covered by a few cavaliers. All the way to the top, that's gonna be a few Ratans, maybe having some success as well against blue, and obviously blocking potentially further resources if he's gonna be moving around. Yeah, villages all over the place. Very nice to the middle, nothing much, just kind of red walling, and it looks like it's probably gonna be heading into one large and seriously big battlefield here in the middle, where everybody is gonna be congregating and meeting with Rodney McKay with the Khmer having 2 and 2 upgrades. Blast Furnace is not coming for him, but rather for actually Paradox and the Halberdiers, and he's also getting upgrade into towers. So yeah, classic Japanese for late game. Towers, Halberdiers, maybe gonna be seen even some. If he gets a castle, then some samurai possibly could be also making, I guess, sense. Or maybe he's gonna be even switching into normal infantry. Because again, if there are gonna be still some kind of eagles coming up, then it's gonna be useful. Or even, frankly, against old halberdiers. So still expecting that maybe Paradox might be forced into that path. Archer armor for Super Hottie, for the Vietnamese. No. Look like a GoodGuy tried to be slightly diving into maybe the villages, but frankly, amongst like 3 castles and a few halberdiers, and still just the 3 castles, that wasn't too much of a great idea. This is maybe gonna be a bit more interesting raid. He's gonna be having some villages maybe here that, yeah, could be actually working out. No, and looking for example in Netherlands, those raids are quite a bit effective, as we have dropped everybody below 100 for the Netherlands. You can see right now only 90s, 80s, whereas right now Paradox and his team, Scotland A, are gonna be right now growing. 142 for GoodGuy, 115 for Paradox, 107 for Hottie, and Reaper at 84. So how actually the tables are turning currently? Out of almost nowhere, it's just a few raids, and what kind of success is right now brewing. Well, Netherlands simply weren't able to utilize that economical advantage they had. As I somewhat mentioned earlier, it really looked like that Scottish were catching up, and the window of opportunity is closing, and seems like, no, it's becoming quite a bit shut and boarded on top of it. Let's see if it's gonna be the reality in the end, or if there's still gonna be some kind of power for a comeback here anyway, as they are reaching almost 1 hour of game time. And to the top, that's still somewhat of a forgotten army here. Doesn't seem like he's gonna be ever heading back into those open villages of open. But much more importantly, as we have also seen a bit earlier, the castle here, they are going to be heading forward even through kind of like the heart of base and open. It's kind of funny, the names, kind of like open base, right? But nonetheless, you can see that the GGs are gonna be already called by Netherlands C, and therefore Scotland A are going to be right now getting the Nomad. So Paradox is... No, he probably wouldn't be here in the end of it, considering what kind of tournaments he's hosting, right? Nomad Wars, if he actually didn't win this, but he did. And that means that Scotland is gonna be getting the win, and that's quite probably going to be therefore meaning the advance for them, right? Yep. GL next, so it means that therefore Scotland A are going to be winning 2-1 in the qualification round 1 for Nations Cup 2023, hosted by Coyotl, Paradox here, for example, Akkal, enmipho, Welcome to Rapture, and then others like Gocalderon, Hesemi, helping with the graphics, and that's... How's the guy with The merchandise chopta, right? Thinking it's something along those lines. I need to be finding him somewhere to hopefully remember the name properly. I think it's something like chopta. Somebody can potentially correct me. Then of course also the map creators or map scripters helping out. That's AJFE, Zetnus, and T-West. I'm working on making the maps as fair as possible. No, and then of course the admins for the Bronze League and the Silver League. For Silver League it's gonna be Adiko, who is also somewhat responsible for the prize pool for the tournament, or kind of collecting of it on Mecherino, Hagi, Agent P97 and Negodrama. And Bronze League is gonna be adminned by Daisy Chain, we have seen in the previous game, Big Walt, Mr. Beaver and Banstenak 19. Okay, so let's therefore have a look on some statistics here, and then we could be heading into the live match, the last one for today. That is going to be between Argentina G and UKE. Not sure how far they are going to be in the match. Gonna be trying to find if I can get maybe the draft. Netherlands, Scotland. Okay, that is something that's gonna be important to us currently. BO5, Nations Cup BO3. Right now not entirely certain who is going to be Bato. Yeah, having actually plenty of drafts there for some reason. But yeah, TM Graham, that looks like it's gonna be maybe legit. I'm not sure, there are like 5 drafts for some reason. So I have no idea what that's about. Yeah, they are having like 4 different for maps, unless only the last one is gonna be real. And then we're just gonna like testing something, maybe. Could have been the case. Yeah, probably gonna be the case. They were testing something and the last 2 are gonna be real. So what do we have here as the statistics and whatever? Villages we have just mentioned, armies, no, that's quite a bit evident at this point for the Scottish side, and for the upgrades therefore. Korean, fairly low. I mean, like he was for the whole game having quite low economy, so somewhat understandably. Nice that he actually found the time for the hand card. Though something like Boso would be also excellent. He was getting Elite Warwagon since he freshly got into Imperial Age. Paradox, that's actually the Green Castles, so therefore blue. Paradox with the Japanese. Oh, missing definitely right now the second farm in by now. Even the 2 men, so could have been nice, but I guess the second farm, since he's also gonna be heftily going into food units, would be nice. Malian is gonna be somewhat okay. Crop rotation, but alright. And the last player on the team, Scotland, is going to be GoodGuy. GoodGuy's teammate rather, so Unrivalled Super Hottie, who is gonna be somewhat okay. 2 men, so would have been nice. Thumbring would have been nice for Ratans, for example. At this time, 55 minutes of game time, 200 pop limit. So if we were looking to do something, that would be good idea. And for the other team, that will be there for open, for Italian, no farms whatsoever. And he wasn't even having the water, because you can see right now Paradox's comeback, therefore did clean it up, but I'm still thinking it was entirely too necessary, to be honest. You can see he was doing even something on the land here through that. But again, I'm thinking it was just a bit of a surplus that could have been actually done without, but hell, maybe it helped them, who knows. Maybe at least some kind of confidence for Paradox. For the next player, that's gonna be there for Red with the Khmer. Rodney McKay was having quite an eventful fate in the game, just having to run quite often. Can't see it now, didn't manage to get hand card, but he's the Khmer. So for him it would be useful though on the woodline, for example, so it's not like only about the farms. That's mostly in the early stages, but for the wood it's also excellent. Mayan, whoa, really? Only this? Definitely missing plow, definitely 2 men saw, definitely base gold. Oh, and also definitely look at the upgrades here. He's missing Thumbring, Chemistry. I mean, like he was having an excellent army, but he was a bit forgetting a few upgrades here, so please next time. And you're gonna be having also much better time with the Eagles. This is a bit of a shame. especially, and he's in the Imperial Age for not a short time at all. And the last player on the team, that would be orange. It would be our base with the Dravidians, somewhat okay. Missing obviously hand card, but yeah, somewhat okay. Thumbring, he was mostly having actually skirmishes, not too many elephant archers. Even though it's kind of useful for them, it improved, basically gives them the 100% accuracy against standing targets as well. Doesn't increase the speed with which they shoot as opposed to archers. But it's, yeah, well, not as necessary. So let's therefore have a look into scoreboard, which is gonna be apparently GoodGuy in the end with clear victory. Just a few more castles for Havoc, meaning he's gonna be having some good score as well on that. And also having the military. Yeah, he was kind of like the outstanding player for Netherlands C. As you can see, GoodGuy and all the kills are fairly actually nasty. Now, he's the one who actually did manage to destroy the economies. As you mentioned earlier, that Netherlands were having some good economies. Suddenly, they were all below 100. That's mostly thanks to GoodGuy and his visits with his knights and cavaliers. It's a good army at the end for Unrivalled Super Hottie. Havoc, of course, at 65. Could have been maybe higher as well, but he was missing a bit on the economy, as we have seen. Lost just 2 buildings. No, and on the echoes, that's gonna be kind of hard to compare whom hit whom, I guess. So somewhat hard to imagine. And hard to make some kind of sense of that. So Havoc against whom? Who he was actually fighting against the most? I guess with the other archer, I guess so with Super Hottie. Could be somewhat relevant. 7, 5, it's gonna be 12, 16, 17,000 resources more for Havoc than for Super Hottie. He was having a really good game in there. Then that's a bit more open. Our base on the water, and who was fighting from the other side? GoodGuy, I guess. No, GoodGuy was fighting. So let's maybe compare those two, but it's gonna be massively for GoodGuy, as he was having excellent echoes. So was there somebody better booming? Maybe open. So let's gonna compare other GoodGuy and open. Better economies. 10,000. 10,000 is gonna be 4 to the bottom, 3 to the top. So it's gonna be like 1,500 to the bottom. That means 12,000 more for a GoodGuy than for open. Paradox was on the water as well, so maybe Paradox and our base could be also compared. 7,000, 14, 15 and a half, 15 and a half, like 16 and a half maybe for Paradox than for our base. And the last couple is gonna be there for Reaper and Rodney, kind of having the maybe like the lowest economies for their teams maybe. But Reaper, and it's gonna be 8,000, 12 without 3, it's gonna be like 9 and maybe 2 less, like 7,500 resources more for Paradox. Or did I actually count it? Oh wait, sorry, it was Reaper with Rodney. So Rodney McKay was still having like those 7.5 or how many thousand more. Okay, so further, nothing much more here. Plenty upgrades for Paradox. He was having some different types of units also on the water. They come back in the late game. Having also the towers, of course, upgraded. So therefore something like Fletching and that line, besides even the infantry. Now I can say it now, 93 for Reaper, 90 for our base. Actually never even got above 100 in the game. So congratulations to Scotland A. Right now we have seen in the game, therefore Paradox, Reaper, Unrivalled Super Hottie and GoodGuy. Not sure if some other guys were playing in the previous games in the match, but well, congratulations to them as well on reaching the second round of the 2023 Nations Cup qualification, hosted again by Weberquotl and Co. And then Paradox being also one of the admins. No, and then good effort, I guess. We have seen also here that they did have their chances, even on the Nomad here. As Open, Rodney, McKay, R-Base 96 and Havoc AoE, well, they're gonna be having opportunity to play in the Wood League, and therefore good luck in further matches and games to both. GG.